So last night I was talking about how I don't like to talk about negative things because I believe it manifests in life. It just invites negative things in. And I had a couple of glasses of wine last night, but it was only a couple of glasses. And literally two glasses. So I went to bed, probably not as early as I should have because I never do. And then I was meditating and it all seemed fine until I still hadn't fallen asleep really. You sort of go between sleep and awake, and I just started feeling garbage to the point of freaking out. Like I thought I was going to be sick, I thought I couldn't breathe, but more so than normal, it was more extreme. So it didn't stop either. Usually if I wake up feeling weird, I'll go and sit out in the living room. I'll stick my feet in a bucket of hot water because that really helps to calm me down. So I'll do that and I'll sit in the living room until I feel better, and it usually works pretty well. But last night I couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't calm down. But it felt weird. It just felt extreme, where it didn't make sense. I had 2 glasses of wine. It felt like I fucking had 2 bottles of wine. It actually still feels like that now, and I think it's about 5:30 in the afternoon. I still feel shit. I feel terrible. So anyway, it got to about 7:30 in the morning, and I was still feeling just like no matter which way I turned. I know that you're not meant to sleep on your stomach, but I've fallen into that habit like a lot. And lately it's harder to sleep on my stomach. I don't know whether it has anything to do with digestion or whatever. Anyway, so no matter which way I turned last night or this morning, I couldn't get comfortable. It was just bad. So anyway, I went and I sat at about 7:30 in the morning, sat out in the living room, stuck my feet in some hot water, and it just didn't help. It felt nice to stick my feet in the hot water, but it didn't stop the sick, insane feeling that I had of just, my brain was just bending and it was going to snap. So yeah, that happened. Eventually my husband got up and I went and got into bed, and I got like an hour or so sleep or something, maybe 2. And then when I woke up I didn't feel much better. So I was thinking, obviously, I don't know. I started thinking about the things I'd said last night and whether that had anything to do with it. And I started watching videos, as I have been doing lately. It's a comfort thing, I think. I started watching videos, and the first video I clicked on was, I just recently subscribed to this paranormal channel. I don't usually do that sort of thing. Again, I think invites in negativity. And maybe it's because I'd watched, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I watched a couple of their videos, which is very interesting, but maybe a little negative, So the first video I clicked on when, I was awake today, watching YouTube, was one of their videos, and it was entitled 7 Times We Got Scared on Investigations. And I was watching it, and just, it was it wasn't just getting scared, it was all about physical things happening to these people while they're on like psychic or haunted investigations. Like, it was just weird. And it made me, think about, what did I do? And then I thought about maybe meditation, which I've never thought before, but I just decided to suddenly Google, like, can meditation be bad? And sure enough, the way everything in the world at the moment, everyone's got, conflicting opinions, and you can always find something negative about everything. Sure enough, yeah, you can have bad side effects from meditation. Obviously there's the spiritual believers, there's the scientific psychology researchers and stuff. And I think a lot of my problems have a lot to do with fear, my own personal innate fear of just everything in life in general. That's beside the point. So with meditation, obviously the spiritual side of it, people believe that you can let bad things in when you meditate, which, when I really think about it, is possibly true, if that's a thing. So I want to be open to everything. I don't want to just believe in the one thing, and I also personally don't want to believe in that stuff because I don't think I'm a fan of the unknown, honestly. There's too many bizarre things happen, and unexplainable things. It's nice to be able to try and explain them somehow, or look for rational explanations. I don't even know if any of this is making sense. Anyway, whatever. So there's the spiritual people who believe that meditating lets bad things in, and looking back on some times when I've meditated, this could be true. But also there's this psychological aspect where researchers have looked into and the fact that past traumas or suppressed emotions and thoughts and stuff can all probably be brought to the surface when you meditate. So there's that as well. It's all very much in your head, and that's something else I believe. Is like the mind obviously is so powerful. Sometimes it's hard to know what to say. So that led to me thinking that. Which led to other things, and I've recently subscribed to a channel on YouTube that's a very spiritual channel, like a girl who talks a lot about, she seems to know a lot about, what she does, what she believes in. She talks a lot about starseed children, which I've come to find, aside from not really believing in it, resenting it as a concept, because I feel like it's taking away from just the plain fact of being human. And I almost feel at the moment like being human is just so bad. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes humans. Sometimes for valid reasons, sometimes for purely ridiculous reasons. But yeah, I feel like talking about starseed children and what do they call them, like indigo and crystal children, or rainbow children, things like this. It takes away from just being human, I don't know, maybe that's just something negative I'm reading into it myself, something that, should be quite positive. I don't know. It all seems very fantastical, that particular thing. So anyway, yeah, but I started watching this channel, and she started talking about clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and claircognizance, I think it is. So the four aspects of psychic ability, I think it is. And if I really sat and watched them all, which I've watched a couple, I can relate to some of the things in that. in those, in like maybe all of them. I haven't watched the one on claircognizance, but I probably would relate to aspects in that as well. I think probably everyone would. I don't know, but so far I am relating to things that she's saying. However, having read yesterday about highly sensitive people, a lot of that is correlating with the clairvoyance, the psychic aspect of things, do you know? So it's, I'm starting to wonder if it's all just the same thing. But which is it? Is it psychic or is it scientific? Right now I'm at a, what do you call it? I don't like cliches, like I hate saying them. But let's just say a crossroads. A crossroads, and I'm standing in the middle of this crossroads and I don't know which direction to go in. And it just that relates to so many things in life. I don't know whether I really have anything else to say about this, but I just wanted to mention it. And I was also talking to my husband earlier about, you know, being the highly sensitive person and beating yourself up a lot, and just the internal struggles, the two sides of yourself, that, you know, there's like a war, which I believe is probably inside everybody. Everybody probably experiences internal, of course everybody experiences internal conflict. Maybe, I don't know. There are other things that I want to say. I don't know whether I really want to talk about the darker side or whatever I've looked into now of meditations. I feel quite sad about that, because I know that, as I said, meditation helped me a lot, and quite, you know, recently, and to think that it could be a bad thing is a little bit disappointing. Again, maybe I also wonder if that's just now opened me up to another way of thinking that influences my way of thinking, instead of just going with the flow, you know, which I was probably doing before. That's another cliche. Don't like it. Whatever. So yeah, I almost kind of wish I didn't know that now, that there's the darker side of meditation. But I think these are probably things that need to be talked about. I've heard it said recently by a few people that the world is changing, life is changing. I think we're coming into the age of Aquarius, no, or maybe we're coming to the age of Pisces, not sure. We're coming into the age of something. So things are changing, things are definitely changing. Another interesting point my husband brought up, I think it was yesterday or today, was that, let me try and remember. It was something about how basically man gets comfortable, fucks up the world. So I think we're in that stage of life where man is getting comfortable, and because humans, whatever. So annoying the way my camera just, I need to work that out, and something I really need to find better recording devices. Anyway, so like I was saying, we're in the middle, or maybe approaching the end of man gets comfortable. Man looks for ways to fuck things up. Man succeeds and has to start again, you know, like the cycle. I guess that's just like... So, that's one of the many cycles of life, is the collective actions of humans. Another interesting point. So yeah, at some point I'm going to talk about this, all these things. I might gather a little more information. I feel like I want to talk about some things, and hopefully there's people out there who want to talk about the same things. Another thing about being highly sensitive is that a lot of people don't understand why you are the way you are, which is fair enough because they're not feeling those things, you know. So, for instance, another thing that I read that was very interesting to me was that when you're highly sensitive, you'll see something as or you'll hear something as overwhelmingly beautiful, and it will move you in such a way that you just have to get passionate about it and talk about it. And I know that's not unusual, but you know, you'll be around people who just don't get why you're so excited about something, and you can't understand why they can't understand what you're seeing. So yeah, things like that. And I think this opens up the conversation of, you know, highly sensitive people. You're not just overly sensitive, it's an actual thing. It is a condition that you experience, that you're experiencing. It's got aspects of good and bad. I think maybe I'm just prattling now, but it's a conversation I would like to have. I'm very interested in the conflicting sides of spiritualism and science in relation to this. I like to find things like that out about stuff. Man, I still feel garbage, that's why I'm prattling nonsense. So I filmed my video last night and I woke up. I was awake this morning just thinking I can't post that, it's too negative. But then I thought, well, if I don't, I'm running away from what I want to do and almost like letting outside influences or very shrouded internal influences dictate how I live my life. And I think I don't want to do that anymore. I think it's time to figure it out, sort things out. Even if this is not interesting to people, maybe this is just a good way to get out, instead of seeing a psychologist, I don't know, get out the things that I need to say, work through things, discover things, you know, and maybe there'll be other people out there who want to discover the same things. I have nearly finished my leg warmers. For those of you watching my crochet tutorials, it's making me so happy to do this. Even though it's like the middle of summer and like you wake up sweating now, you sweat when you get out of the shower, I still can't stop crocheting. I don't know why. Maybe it's a bit of a madness thing. I don't know. So, if you've watched this, thanks for watching. I am going to post the video I made last night. I actually made two. I made the Wine and Weird Tales, and then I made the talking not very eloquently about the paranormal, highly sensitive people, and also the fourth dimension, which is something else I'd really like to talk about, because that's another interesting concept that I know a lot of people probably find interesting too. And along with that, well, actually not along with that, but something else that I want to talk about is flat earth theory. Not that I believe it, just saying that it's something that's very interesting to me, and I really like that people are trying to prove it using science. I find that fascinating. Because another thing, just quickly before I finish this, is something that disturbed me in the recent past. Just disturbed me, when I say disturbed me, disappointed me a little bit, was discovering that scientists are not the be-all and end-all of knowledge. They are prone to lying and covering things up when somebody else's discovery doesn't fit their personal research, experiments, knowledge. Something about dinosaurs, which I'll talk about some other time. So that was very interesting. So yeah, that's the reason I find this flat earth theory so interesting. And you know, knowing that science, it's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go finish my leg warmers, try to relax today and not panic, not freak out. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a nice day or night wherever you are.